Here are 8 types of nuclear learning, named as perpetual learning, crisis learning, experiential learning or learning by doing, learning by emulation or imitative learning, learning by trial and error, factual learning, inferential learning, and unlearning. Let us unfold the definitions of all of these types, starting from perceptual learning. This kind of learning relates to the development of doctrinal precepts for the operationalization of nuclear weapons and to integrate conventional and nuclear warfighting concepts and doctrines. The number second is crisis learning. This is another common form of learning and usually leads to substantive changes in the application of security policies. During the Cold War, the Cuban Missile Crisis of October 1962 led to the adoption of various confidence building and crisis management mechanisms such as the Washington-Moscow hotline and created an environment for the beginning of arms control negotiations. In South Asia, the Kargil crisis of 1999 led to a better understanding of the complexities of a nuclearized security environment and had a salutary effect on the behavior of India and Pakistan during the 2001 and 2002 military standoff and the subsequent crisis in 2008. The very next learning process is called experiential learning or learning by doing. This is the most common form of learning that can also be found in many other spheres of human activity and comes about with the experience of dealing with nuclear weapons over a period of time, a kind of learning on the job. This type of learning is progressive and lessons learned at an earlier stage of learning continue to be modified and improved upon with further experience, availability of new information, or changes in security environment or technological developments. This type of learning is succeeded by learning by emulation or imitative learning. This type of learning entails learning from the experiences of other nuclear states, trying useful lessons and adopting these in accordance with the peculiarities of one's own environment. This can be done with the help of publicly available information. However, this kind of learning is limited to selected areas only because of the sensitivity of the information and legal limitations imposed by domestic laws, as well as international treaty obligations. The next process holds the title of learning by trial and error. This is an innovative type of learning and can be very valuable, provided an individual or an organization is willing to accept mistakes and learn the right kind of lessons from these after due analysis, which requires a lot of courage. Factual learning holds the very next process of nuclear learning in Pakistan. In terms of nuclear learning, this type of learning refers to knowledge about the technical characteristics of nuclear weapons, such as their yield and the effects a nuclear detonation produces in the form of heat, blast, and radiation. It is important for both the public and the policymakers to be aware of the power of nuclear weapons and their peculiar nature as distinct from conventional weapons. Inferential learning holds the next place. This type of learning involves the broader policy implications of the possession of nuclear weapons. It is important for policymakers to be aware of these implications for their security policy to enable them to make adjustments wherever necessary to adjust either the ends of the policy or the means employed to achieve those ends, or both. The very last place has been held by a process named unlearning. In some cases, useful and correctly learned lessons are unlearned. A case in point is Pakistan learning from the Cold War experience and the destabilizing potential of battlefield nuclear weapons, therefore eschewing their development but then deciding in 2011 to move down this exact path.